Good morning. My name is Rose Albert, and I am an MPH student in the Department of Environmental Health Sciences. This summer, I conducted my internship with the Center for Community Engagement, Environmental Justice and Health, also known as SEEGE, at the University of Maryland. SEEGE seeks to provide technical and scientific support to communities that are differentially exposed to environmental hazards. This support can look like community-based participatory research or other environmental health scientific support, as well as scientific communication, policy development, and building community capacity through education and training. SEEGE is based on the foundations of environmental justice, which the EPA defines as meaningful involvement and fair treatment and true representation of all people at all levels of decision making. But this definition can be expanded by that of Dr. Bunyan Bryant, who views environmental justice as when people can be free from the isms. These isms show there are structural inequities that are perpetuating these outcomes. Some community partners involved in my products were the Black Belt Citizens Fighting for Health and Justice in Uniontown, Alabama, and the Maryland League of Conservation Voters, who were our stakeholders for the white papers. Some lessons that I learned this summer are that environmental injustices are inseparable from other structural and social inequities, so that is showing how those isms are linked together. And environmental justice is lifelong work. I recognize this movement has been alive many decades longer than I have, and so it is an honor to undertake this work and advocate for people to be treated with the dignity and the respect that they deserve as human beings. I wrote 3 white papers this summer about cumulative impacts, racial equity screening, and Justice 40, and these white papers fall under the competencies number 15, evaluating public health policies for public health equity, and number 14, advocating for political, social, or economic policies and programs. For the cumulative impacts white paper, this is acknowledging the fact that we do not experience just single exposures. We need to be considering holistic views of our health, and this includes both chemical and non-chemical stressors. So not just the air and water pollution or food contamination, we also need to be thinking about psychosocial stressors and economic burdens. This is advocating for a cumulative impacts bill that can prevent siting of pathogenic infrastructure like locally unwanted land uses, while also advocating for salutogenic or health-promoting infrastructures such as green spaces or energy investments for clean energy. And the racial equity screening is advocating for something similar to a fiscal note, but instead of looking at the monetary costs of a bill, it's looking at the social costs and looking at how these bills are going to be disproportionately impacting certain racial groups. This is a requirement that's analogous to that of a health impact assessment or an environmental impact statement. Justice 40 is based on the executive order from President Biden in Executive Order 14008, and Justice 40 states that any investments made into climate crisis or climate mitigation, 40% of those benefits must flow toward disadvantaged communities. So this white paper explores how we're defining disadvantaged communities and what that looks like on a state level to make sure that we are building climate equity. If you're interested in learning more about Justice 40, I also wrote a blog post based on this white paper that can be accessed through the QR code at the bottom right hand of my screen. The next project I worked on was analyzing state agencies using an environmental scorecard. The scorecard is analogous to that of the League of Conservation Voters and the California Environmental Justice Alliance, which has been used for years. But this one was directly made by SEEGE to analyze environmental justice within state programs, infrastructure, and the leadership formats. And this aligns with competency number 11, evaluating public health programs. The next project I worked on was contributing to a research manuscript based on a study they did with Uniontown, Alabama through a community-based air monitoring network. And this is looking at competencies number 6 numbers, which is structural bias, social inequities, and racism as barriers to health equity, and number 21, working on an interprofessional team. Because the predominating concept with community-based participatory research is ensuring that the community members do have equal partnership in this process, and we are evaluating issues that are important to them. And so this will hopefully document and validate these community concerns. The overall community impact for all of these products are linked by validating community concerns and providing concrete policy recommendations for legislators, committees, and agencies to advance environmental justice. I would like to thank Dr. Wilson for this amazing internship opportunity, as well as the team at SIEGE for their support and encouragement this summer. If you are interested in learning more about SIEGE and their work, you can access their website through the QR code at the bottom right hand of my screen, and they are also having a symposium later this month that I will also be speaking at. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.